Good morning, Armor Down. How'd you sleep? Man, I'm sleeping so well. I'm having a hard time getting up. I'm like, I think I mentioned that the dog is kind of out of harmony, I would say. And so he wakes me up pretty much every morning, like 1 hour before my alarm goes off. And you know how that is. It's just the worst, right? So it's like it's like, well, why don't I just stay up? Anyway, this morning, as I usually do, I just let him out, went to the couch, laid down, and I was out. You know, when you lay down and it's just gone, just. So I did that, and then I got up, and I felt like I was in high school because I got up and I was just like, I want to go back to bed. And my mind kept coming up with all these scenarios for why I could go back to bed and everything. Been a tough morning. It's all good though. So we are practicing third bell today. So where have we come? We've come from kind of an awareness of the brain being more than just this thing that sits in our heads and processes information. We've looked at it from the perspective of a predictive processor. So it's not that your brain creates a unique world in the material world. It's that your brain is interacting with the material world, just like everyone else's brain, the same material world. But your brain is actively engaging with what it sees based on who you are. And it's seeing things and processing things and creating perceptions based off of past patterns. So, you know, two people looking at the same thing, one person sees this connected to this. Another person sees this. So it's not that you're creating this alternate world that no one else is connected to. It's that the layering that you're placing on top of the world is based off of what you interact with and how your patterns are and your traumas and all this other kind of stuff. So we each share existence, but we each have our own unique participation with existence. And that's what it means by your brain is predicting and processing and predicting and processing. And so it's actively engaged with your perceptions as opposed to just passively receiving sensation. So we understand that. We've started to participate with that. So what do you do about that? So one thing you can do about that is you can come out of the patterning, come out of the past, come out of the future, and into the present moment. Well, how do you do that? First step is to tame the mind. Tame the mind by bringing the mind into the present moment. Taming the mind by being curious about what's happening around you. This also is meant to kind of give you a clearer practice for assessing safety, right? If you have PTSD or you're dealing with hypervigilance, you can actually be in a very, very safe environment, but perceive it as threatening. And that's just part of what it means to have this brain that's a predictive processor, right? Your brain could hear a sound that could be absolutely nothing, but because you have trauma associated with it and the body keeps score, Bessel, Kolk, you're going to experience not safe. And so one way to kind of counterbalance that is to focus on your senses. You know, your senses are happening in the present moment. Taming the mind brings your focus to that present moment. Taming the mind, curiosity tames the mind every time. Bell 1. Bell 2, get to the body. Get to the body, train the mind. Training the mind, moving away from no pain, no gain, moving away from ignoring the body, coming into the body, learning its sensations, learning the way it feels at subtle levels. No more of this, you know, only your body only shows up in extremes. It's the subtle levels of the ground, the pelvis, the core, the heart space, the throat, the top of the head. So bell 1, bell 2, bell 3, breath experience. Your breath is the inner space. It's the inner space. Now we're in the realm of energy. Now we're in the realm of emotion. Now we're in the realm of the inner world. Your participation with the inner world, your ability to stimulate the way your inner world is kind of evolving over moments and moments and moments. Is it the sympathetic fight, flight, fear, freeze, or is it the parasympathetic rest, relax, rejuvenate, restore, reproduce, all that kind of stuff? You can change it. You got Dr. Herbert Benson on one side, you know, talking about the parasympathetic side, the relaxation response. all this other kind of stuff, and your breath experience, where you experience your breath in your body, in the inner world, is also where your emotions show up. So by training in third bell, you're training the ground. You're going into the zone of where the emotions show up. And if you can start to be more aware of where and the experience of your emotions showing up, often you can be aware of them at their subtle expression so that they don't build and explode, right? So it's, oh, there it is. There's this feeling. Oh, it's starting to come up. Oh, I can feel it. I can feel it. Let me settle. Let me come back into the present moment. Let me go through my body. Let me go through my breath, right? This is all on our way to fourth bell, which is, okay, I got what's going on. Well, how do I move into the world? Well, you move into the world with open-heartedness. You move into the world with a greater sense of connectivity as opposed to being armored up and in battle, right? So you're going into this place with awareness. You're aware of what's going on inside yourself. You know that the best place to bring greater harmony into the moment is to be coming with your heart. Your heart is your greatest tool for creating harmony. So we go through these steps to kind of navigate the lack of awareness that we've been kind of enculturated with. Not good or bad, it's just kind of how it's come. So we recognize that, we counter that with armor down, we counter that with the kind of the four bells. We start to recognize the pieces, got it, boom, 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 boom. And so now when life shows up, there's options. Whereas before it's just taken away, right? Now there's options. So that's the recap. Let's do the practice. So I want you to start by just kind of seeing yourself as you are, right? So just see yourself as you are, what you're doing. How's your mind? Is your mind kind of going at a fast rate? Are you thinking about lots of things? Just how's your mind? Notice your mind. Notice your body. What's your body doing, right? So my mind right now is focused on this. My body is just sitting here, pretty still, you know. My energy, my activation is pretty neutral, pretty, you know, just stable, right? So everything's kind of quiet and just ready. Now, what's the opposite? So what's the opposite of what you're doing right now? What's the opposite of the way your mind is operating? What's the opposite of how your body feels or what your body's doing? And what's the opposite of the way your heart feels? So for example, so the opposite of how my body is doing right now is this tension, activation, agitation. That's kind of the opposite of what my body's doing. What's the opposite of my mind right now? The opposite of my mind right now is kind of what's coming up? God damn it, I can't remember. So that's the opposite of my mind. So my heart, just active, just energy. The opposite of kind of how I feel right now is kind of just like this. Despondent. So that's the opposite. So if I can see the opposite, so if I can abstract, right, the way it is, and then compare it to an opposite, kind of get above it. You see what I'm saying? So if you can create in your mind an opposite of what you are, it kind of gives your mind something to do, something that really captures the present moment. So taming the mind is really giving the mind something to do. It's not zeroing out the mind. It's recognizing the mind in its powerful place and in its relationship to everything, and kind of working with this. Okay, mind, you want to do something? All right, give me an opposite of where we are now. So, all right, so you've got that, right? So see how you can kind of create this, right? So since you can create the opposite as well, step above it and just kind of step out of all this stuff, step above. And now let's begin the practice, right? Let's go out of abstraction into the present moment. So here we go. Sight, sound, taste, touch, smell. I got multiple birds to my left, heater to my right. One bird's going chip, 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 chip. The other bird's going. It's a call and response. Chip, 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 chip. Rest of the house is quiet. Check smell. Don't smell anything. Touch. I got the moving my fingertips on the blanket beneath me. My right hand has got greater heat from the space heater. Another bird just showed up. It's a flat sound though. So there's cheep, 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 cheep. And then a cheep, 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 cheep. Present moment. Curiosity. Be curious about what's in the moment. New bird sound. Sounds like two birds are fighting. Moving. You know situational awareness. You know first bell. All right, let's go second bell. Get to the body. Push down. Push down where you are. Push down, squeeze down, push against the ground. Notice how you can't push the ground away. Feel the push of whatever you're doing. So pushing down with your feet. I'm crisscross applesauce, pushing down. Feel the effort down. And then release effort down, settle. Pelvis, same thing. Pull up in the genitals. Pull up from the very base. Genitals up. Engage, squeeze buttocks, engage, relax, set pelvis. Above the pelvis, below the torso, core. Pull belly button in. Squeeze sides in. Pull up. Feel tightness. Release. Let out. Let out. Let out. Let out. Let out. Let out. Find that middle. Torso. Round shoulder blades forward. Round shoulder blades back. Find middle. Squeeze elbows in. Feel pressure in torso. Release. Move shoulder blades around. Find what feels good. Broad across the chest. Soft shoulder blades. Torso square. Torso is good to go. Throat, jaw. Throat, jaw. Breathe in through your mouth. Feel air moving in the mouth, down the throat. Notice how opening your mouth, closing your mouth changes the way you feel your throat and your jaw and the sensations inside your throat. So wide open mouth, breath in through the mouth. Closed mouth, breathing in through pursed lips. Noticing the differences. Settle throat. Work with the top of the head. Wherever you put your chin, you'll notice if there's any impact on the back of the neck. So right now I notice when I drop my chin, I've got a lot of sensation in the back left side of the neck. I want to trigger that. I want to notice it, back off of it, kind of interact with the edges, find balance in the middle. Center my heads over the top of my spine. Balance. Let's work on the face. Relax eyebrows. Relax behind the eyes. Relax nose, lips, chin. Face is relaxed. By the time you're done second bell, you're looking for alert, upright and alert, also relaxed. Upright and alert, also relaxed. All right, moving into third bell. Okay, start with just locating your breath. Locate where your breath feels. Where does your breath feel? Where? What part of your body do you feel your breath? You might feel it in the lower ribs, center of the chest, maybe you feel it at the nose. Maybe you feel the movement. So the breath never really stays in one place. It's always moving. It's always expanding and contracting or pausing. It's always kind of in a rhythm, in a flow. Now let's find its intensity, find its rhythm. Another way to think about it is know its speed. How fast are you breathing in? How fast are you letting the air go out? Now think about how deep your breath is going. How far down are you breathing? Would it feel good to breathe more deeply? Maybe try it. Try what it feels like to take a real deep, long inhale and a real slow exhale. Now see if you can change the direction of your breath. So see if you can feel your breath sideways. So think of those armpits, think of the side ribs, think sides, breathe sides, feel sides. So if you think about your sides and breathe in slowly, you should be able to feel your sides moving as you breathe. Now to finish up, take 2 rounds of the biggest, fullest breathing you can create. So you're going to change the location where you feel your breath. You're going to change its speed. You're going to change its depth and its direction and create the most massive breath you can create for 2 rounds. Take your time, really see how big you can create your breath, and then see how far that bigness turns around and becomes the exhale and how long the exhale takes. 2 rounds and then we'll finish up. Just kind of sit after that second big exhale and watch your breath return to its normal patterning without your influence. And just watch it. So all we did for third bell is we kind of explored the terrain of the breath. The terrain of the breath is also the terrain of the emotions. Your emotions show up in the same region as the experience of the breath shows up. So by studying the breath experience, you're studying the terrain of the emotions. Your breath is also how you can influence the emotions. Your breath is also where you can go to kind of endure your emotions or be with your emotions without letting them take you over. Sometimes you can't change the emotion. Sometimes you just have to be with it. And one way to be with the emotions is by breathing with them. You kind of parallel the emotion as you go through it. And that's all bell 3. Let's finish with 2 rounds of focused, aware breathing. So take 2 inhales, and on your second exhale, 2 inhale and exhale, the second exhale finishes the practice. It's kind of nice. I just want to kind of just sit here. It's quiet. It's quiet in my mind. It's quiet in my body. That's third bell, baby. All right. It's a good week. Third week's a good week. Next week we'll get into heart space, heart awareness. I'll be here all day. All right, Armor Down. Good training. I hope you have a great rest of your week and a great weekend. See you next week.